Super exciting. Charlene, was that you that just warned me about recording? I love you, if that was you. Thank you. Charlene and Callie. Um, well, today we have Jackie Jolie and also Julie Jacobs, and it's Equisol, but now you've created a new name because Equisol was a limiting name because people thought you were just in the equine industry. And now you've branched out to the companion animal industry. Jackie, your story is really amazing that you were diagnosed with Lyme and you went on this holistic journey. Can you fill us in?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me tonight. Thank you, everybody, for being here and giving us your time to learn about light. I'm super excited. Two of my most favorite passionate topics are light and animals. My story is I have been an equine and canine body worker for the last almost 20 years. If you don't know what that is, basically, I do physical therapy, massage, Reiki, myofascial, have all kinds of continuing education in those factors of working with the full body of how it moves. And most of my clients have been performance animals, and the majority of them have been equines. So did that, loved the job, learned a lot about how the body works as a whole, holistically, how to heal it naturally. I tried to keep my life in that line as well as being a little bit more holistic and natural based. And thought I was pretty relatively healthy considering compared to most Americans. However, 6 years ago, and I knew a little bit about red light therapy as far as like lasers. Those were really kind of the only thing that was really around still at the time at rehab centers that veterinarians would have. I obviously couldn't get my hands on them. They're very expensive for what they are. And so I got Lyme disease 6 years ago from a tick bite. And I also did not want to go the allopathic route of taking antibiotics for 3 months. I knew enough about the microbiome and the gut. I'd probably had 4 or 5 days of antibiotics, maybe two or three times my whole life. I was 35. And I was like, I'm going to leave that as like plan B. And I got into herbs and tinctures and actually healed myself from Lyme using Dr. Buhner's herbal protocol for Lyme disease.
Cool.
Fabulous. I don't know if you know Dr. Buhner, but he was like an amazing herbalist wizard. We lost him last year, but he's got tons of books out, like just a wizard, literally. And he looks like a wizard. Like he's just an incredible human being that loved animals, plants, the universe. Amazing guy. Um, However, when I healed the Lyme disease, I was still having a ton of symptoms I couldn't recover from. Like my body was just having a hard time getting back to normal and optimizing and recovering workouts and still being fatigued and headaches and irritable. And so I had a friend that ended up teaching me about quantum biology, which is all about light, water, and magnetism. And we would be here for 8 to 10 more hours if we opened up that full can of worms. However, the foundation of that is light, and that light is the foundation of our health before everything else. So, before sleep, exercise, and diet, which of course are important, I'm not knocking those things by any means, but all of those things are actually controlled by light, and we are light beings and light bodies before we are chemical bodies. Our chemicals and minerals in our body actually need like a spark of light to be able to be efficient. So I learned all about quantum biology. I got certified because I just dug all in. I made myself the guinea pig, changed my light life. And I also started using red light therapy while I was doing these lifestyle changes. And not only did my hormones and health come back to like normal ranges, for a 36-year-old, but now I'm 41 and my brain works like a Ferrari and I can read things and retain it. I can talk in front of people like this a million times a day, all day long, and not miss a beat. And so I am more optimized now at 41 than I was even in my 20s. And I have that all due to changing my light life and using light for healing. So that is
Amazing. Oh my gosh. No, you're not caffeinated right now?
no,
Oh my
no,
gosh.
no. And I just got back from a conference. I mean, granted, I'm definitely a little low energy because running a company is definitely a whole new thing. But yes, whenever I can start talking about light, you'll see I literally light up.
You light up. Exactly. That's awesome.
And
So,
I start spreading that message. And so then, anyways, yes, I actually was on a beach in Tulum trying to get some more light while I was healing. And this is the only way I know how to tell this story, but like I literally believe that like God or the higher light, like downloaded this invention idea to my third eye of a full body red light therapy product for animals. That was the industry that I worked in. And I started looking around and I saw like, oh, our animals are getting sicker and sicker at younger and younger ages, just like their human counterparts. And yes, there's lots of toxins, right? Like in our air, in our water, in our food, kibble, all these different things. but it's truly the elephant in the room is light, and we're missing that piece. And it's the largest compounding piece that once you fix that, all that other stuff actually gets a whole lot easier. And so anyways, I, started the whole patent process and design and research and development, prototypes, all that business. And then we just launched last year in August with our dog sole blankets. And then we came out with some equine products, and then we just came out with other products, and I realized obviously light helps all mammals, including humans, all other mammals and furry creatures, including insects and vertebrates and all of that, and reptiles. And so we did decide to rebrand as Animasol recently, just because we want to help all animals all over the globe with light. So that's kind of our short synopsis of our story of how we got here with me and my illness, of what I learned from, and now we have these great products to be able to help all animals.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I love your enthusiasm. That's so fun. It's so fun. I wish I had that energy. Maybe I need one of your lights. And I noticed that a lot of biohackers these days are selling like red light saunas. I've actually thought about getting a red light sauna, but I'm like, I've never even tried red light. I should try it before I like invest in this massive sauna that's going to sit on my porch. And so, yeah, what do you think about those?
Well, to answer your question as honest and transparent as I always try to lead my life and the company, you can try red light therapy for free at sunrise and sunset. So that is the only time of the day from the sun that we get only red and near infrared light wavelengths by itself. It's there all day long while the sun comes up until the sun goes down. But at sunrise and at sunset, you only get red and near infrared. And so if you can go outside and expose your eyes and your skin first thing in the morning before any other light, like tech screens and home bulbs, you will start experiencing red light therapy. Now, granted, we can never replace the sun. We can never replace those powers. Getting a product that you do bring into your house does give you that more contact method of creating a therapeutic dosage, especially since most people cannot stay outside all day long, even though that's our message. So that's the first way you can get it for free. As far as investing in products at home, now saunas, I don't obviously create saunas. That's a far infrared product that creates a thermal effect in your body to cause you to sweat. All of your red light therapy products for animals or humans, if you're just using it for red and near infrared does not create a thermal effect. So your product should not be heating at all. You do not want any type of thermal effect because you don't want to overheat organs or soft tissue. So saunas are very good and heating can be good, but when you're working with animals, they don't have a message to tell us like, hey, that's too much. And so you want to be very careful using thermal devices. It would just be like if we stuck you in a sauna for 4 hours every single day, you would overheat your organs, so it wouldn't be good. As far as saunas at home, I have a couple of brands that I do recommend. Like I have an in-home sauna called Therasage, and it's just financially affordable. They also test all of their products as far as like being low non-native EMF. It's portable, so you can easily fold it up and like take it on the go, or if you're going to stay in a different house. The new ones have like actual crystals in with the near infrared panels. And I think they run like normally right now during Black Friday and the holidays are their biggest sales. So I think it's normally like 1,200, but you can get them around like $900 right now with the sales. And really compared to like some of the big, huge saunas that are $2,000 and up, I think it does a great job. I get in, I start sweating in 10 minutes. It gets up to 170. Like it's pretty ideal. You can fit like one person in it. Like it's not any of the bigger two people things. But if you're looking for something like on a budget, super easy, effective, and safe, Therasage, they've been around for a really long time, and I really like their products.
Let's get back to the animals. I love this chat, but let's
You can reach
let's
me with
talk
any questions.
about
Yes.
so I love the fact that you address that you can get real red light before the sun peaks or below. Like how far does the sun have to go at night?
So it's about a 30-degree angle both at sunrise and at sunset. So once the sun gets above 30 degrees in the morning, you're going to start getting your UVB. Well, your UVA comes in first, and then your UVB comes about after a 45-degree angle. Granted, you're not going to get out there and like, measure things. But if you live around treetops, basically by the time they get above your treetop, you're going to start getting some of your UV rays. Now, during the middle of the day, you still have your red and near infrared. Those are your big brother protector wavelengths so that UVB can't be so demonized like it has been. You always have those protecting wavelengths there to help you during the time with those waves. And you need UVA and UVB, and maybe we have time to get into that later. But yes, sunrise and sunset is when you actually get only exclusively red and near infrared light. And it is a super healing light. It will help your eyesight. If you're not wearing sunglasses, don't go outside and wear sunglasses. Get rid of them, actually. They're not good for you.
I don't wear them.
You know, if you wear contacts, it would be best if you're just going out for the therapeutic dosage, just not have your contacts. Like, what do you need to read while you're outside? Like, just enjoy the weather and just enjoy the day. Get that light into your eyeballs, and that will actually start creating healing for your eyesight. It sets your time of day for circadian clocks as well, getting up at that early time. There's different frequencies in the wavelengths at sunrise and sunset. Conversely, at night, at sunset, it gets your body ready for like your nighttime hormones and things that you should be having to get you into rest and digest if you're turning your nights dark, which again is another topic. But yeah, you can get the red and infrared for free outside all day long, and it's secluded at sunrise and at sunset.
So that does not come through glass, though.
Not anymore, unless you have an old house with old windows.
I
It does
do.
Good for you. I love the old glass. Good for you. Yay. So otherwise, if you are at home or at an office and you're wanting some of that good light, you would just have to open your window, or in the car, just open your window, open your sunroof. Like, light is so powerful that as soon as it enters into a room or into a space, it just scatters everywhere. That's how powerful and strong it is. And so you really can just get some of those easy, quote unquote, biohacks to get natural light, because that's the bigger topic here that we want to bring. Yes, you can buy red light therapy from me and all other companies, of course, for healing, and it does a really good job at that, and we can talk about those benefits too. But there's a larger picture here of why I made a full body blanket, why I put 5 wavelengths in it, why it's wireless without any non-native EMFs, because we are very deficient, all of us domesticated mammals, including humans and including horses, actually, you believe it or not, from natural light, and especially the red and near infrared light wavelengths, which are the deepest absorbing and the deepest healing. And so we need to actually start seeing light as a supplement. And it is the best supplement that you could possibly have because it's non-invasive. You know, the kidney, liver, and stomach doesn't have to digest it or get overloaded. And it's quite powerful. But by using LEDs, it can be very safe and effective compared to lasers.
That's so fun. I have to say that I had listened to one of Rodney Habib's presentations on the longest living dog. He talked about biohacking and light therapy. Also, I came home, moved my bed in front of my window, and my dog woke up sooner, was happier. And so normally he'd like sleep in, be just like not very inspired.
Yes.
And the minute I did that, his whole world changed. Mine did too. We both got better from it. And so that's how I know my windows are crappy. So yeah, but
They're the best things for you. Like all of our modern windows and light bulbs, they got changed because of energy efficiency, unfortunately. And so they don't let any of the red, your light bulbs at home don't let red or infrared. They're not in the bulbs. And then your new windows don't also let red and infrared because of heating issues. But it's a couple of cents. You know, incandescent bulbs are going to cost you a couple of cents. Like cancer is way more expensive. And I am that literal that the blue light, there's already science, it's already coming. Like it is causing the health issues that all of us are dealing with because we are under artificial light that's very inflammatory to our bodies. And our circadian rhythms are no longer in sync. And when those aren't in sync, that creates chaos in the body, which is inflammation. Chronic inflammation leads to illness, cancer, and all-cause mortality. And it's literally as simple and powerful as light.
so Jackie, how come horses are deficient? Now, I worked at a barn that was fully indoors, fully enclosed, and I would tell them constantly, get your horses out, get your horses
Yeah.
out. They can't live like this.
No.
But horses that are out the majority of the day, are they okay, or do they still need red light?
No, well, they're fine as far as if they're turned out all the time, they're going to be one of the healthiest animals around. Like when I see the horses turned out in Colorado and Montana, I'm like, y'all have the best life. You know, they're not blanketed, they're not clipped, they're out in like 100-acre pasture to run around with friends and other horses, and like they are living the natural horse life, and those horses will be so healthy. Now, a caveat to that is if one of those horses went and like cut its leg open, right? Because that's what horses do, you could still use the actual red light therapy devices then to heal that faster as an actual therapeutic modality. But that horse is not deficient in light causing health issues. But most of our modern horses are. Like racehorses, a lot of them are in stables that have very dim lighting, so then they're not even getting bright enough lighting as well as not going outside. And then a lot of the performance horses I worked on, they'd be in big fancy barns, but everything is indoors. There's not even dirt on the ground for them to ground to the earth, and like bright LED and fluorescent light bulbs that flicker. So like massive issues, and we just don't realize that it's something that could cause a problem when these are living beings that need to be, turned out and grounded to the earth. Now, something I've really thought was interesting in a lot of the statistics I've been studying through going through this journey is our domesticated small animals, cats, dogs, things like that, their cancer rates are very parallel to humans, right? Like
Right.
1 in 2, 1 in 3 are going to get cancer in their life at a very young age now. Same with humans. If you look at horses, they do get cancer, but it's very, very, very rare still.
Yeah.
Why? I haven't had anybody ask why. And I sit back and I ask why. Now, granted, some people might say initially, oh, well, their natural diet is, they're an herbivore or an omnivore, and so they're not eating, the crappy kibble, whatever. But if you work in the performance world at all with horses, it's the exact same as our animals at home. Crappy fluoride, city water, processed feed that comes out of a bag with sugar and molasses. They're, kept inside more. They're getting tons of supplements to overburden their liver and kidneys. I think the only true difference is that horses, on an average, definitely get more of a light and dark cycle every day and more fresh air and more grounding to the earth than us as humans and us as our domesticated pets get.
I think that's a big part of it. I will also say that I think them being herbivores, I do think some of the meat that whatever the feed companies,
Yes.
because dog and cat food is considered feed, and they can feed some really rank, nasty food in that bag. So I do think
Chicken are just as worse. They're sprayed with glyphosate. All of their hay is sprayed with glyphosate. Like it's
I
not.
I totally understand that. And I do think that's a root cause of all our metabolic issues in horses. They can't glyphosate grass hay, but they can alfalfa. And all your alfalfa seeds are Roundup Ready seeds and then sprayed in Roundup. So I've talked to hay growers. Next week, we do have a horse nutritionist coming. So if you want to join, you can hop
Yeah.
on. And it's an organic equine feed company. So that'll be fun.
Tons of fun.
But yes, and they do get a lot of vaccines. So I do think that the horse industry is slower to advance because of the lack of cancer rate. I think because if you're buying a 30, 40, $50,000 horse and it dies every so many years like dogs and cats, you would be on it. And we don't have the research
Yeah.
because horses are too expensive to do research and they live longer.
Yes.
So, yeah, I definitely think about that too. And their GI tract is 125 feet. So I wonder if that processing and elimination and the constant moving, hopefully. I
Oh,
mean, in major barns, it's like an hour, whatever, but in a natural environment, they're grazing and moving around all day.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good question. I think about it a lot, actually.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Um,
So for dogs and cats, you're seeing some benefit. Horses, you're seeing benefits. They're two biologically very, very different animals. But they do like predators and prey. Predators have eyes on the front of their face, prey have eyes on the side of their face. And so they take in light differently, and their irises are totally different. But they still process light the same, don't they?
yes. So all mammal and really, as far as I know, any living thing that has the nervous system is going to still respond through the retina, because I mean, this is working on, reptiles and things as well. But we all have a central clock in our brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus that controls the circadian rhythms. And it is a little bit of a different topic with circadian rhythms versus just responding to light in our bodies. But it's still important to note because it shows the power of how light controls our bodies. And so light does come through the retina and go to the SCN, and that's your master clock that then gives all the messages to all of your other systems, endocrine, cardiovascular, musculoskeletal. We all work on clocks, gut clocks. But the interesting thing is it's every single cell in our mammalian bodies or reptilian bodies have clocks, and they have light receptors for those clocks. They're called melanopsins. And we also have neuropsins that are in our skin cells. And so those are light triggers that are looking for a light response. Well, we all used to live outside, breathe outside, sleep outside, work outside, procreate outside, like eat outside, all the things. And so we are lacking all of those light triggers that we used to get. And now we have everything that's very artificial and flipped upside down. And that's what's creating a lot of the dysfunction in our clocks that then creates all the dysfunction in our systems. Again, red and near infrared are still the ones that get absorbed the deepest and heal the most. And we didn't not only get that from the sun outside, the moon also reflects near infrared light.
Wow.
And then every single living thing that's outside, even like rocks, like you can look up near infrared photography. It's very cool. When they use that lens on photography, they'll take pictures of things outside. Everything that turns white is reflecting near infrared. So all your trees and leaves and plants and flowers and bushes and shrubs and rocks and animals, all of them are also reflecting light. All of us living things, we absorb light and we reflect it. So our cells take in what it needs, and then whatever it doesn't need, we reflect back out from us. We can't see that with our naked eye. Humans can only see 0.003% of the full spectrum of light. So we don't see very much, actually. Some animals can see a little more. And so we would have been getting all of that near infrared outside 24/7, even with the moon up, right? And like we lock ourselves inside a house, inside a car, inside an office, inside a room, and we never get that exposure outside. Same with our pets. And I even think some of our domesticated pets probably have it worse. I mean, if us as humans get to leave and go outside for work or for the gym or to go do something outside, if our pets are inside all day long, they get to go outside for what, 20 minutes maybe to go pee or walk. I'm talking about kind of just like modern animals, right? Not most people probably on this talk, but this is what we need to look at and help, because that is truly the foundation of their dysfunction of health before anything else. And that's where we need to be supplementing that light before anything else.
That's so interesting because when Rodney gave his talk, the 4 longest living dogs were all ranch dogs. And so that was his conclusion, is that these ranch dogs are outside and
Yeah.
aligning with the sun and the moon. I didn't know that everything emulated red
Yeah.
light, even when the sun went down. And I do night photography, and
Oh,
my gravel lights up
yep.
at
Yep.
night.
So think about
So
a rock that's like really warm after being in the sun all day long. If you were to take a picture of that with a film that helps you take near infrared photography, it would glow white. And like you feel the heat on rocks after being in the sun all day. It is reflecting that near and far infrared heat from that sun because it doesn't need it. And so it's just reflecting it. But yeah, our bodies would have absorbed all of that, right? We would have had this beautiful, natural, synchronistic, effect with light outside all day. And now we've brought ourselves inside, and it's killing us. Like it's killing us and our pets, literally. And so that's kind of the issue. And I love that Rodney brought that up about ranch dogs, because I bring it up too. I talked about it on Josie's podcast a couple weeks ago, where like I remember 20 years ago, you'd see like the farm lab, that's like 16 years old, and he might have some bumps and tumors on his body, but he's eating Roy, okay? Like probably the worst kibble that was ever invented, but it was the only thing around back then and cheap, right? And I'm not here to say we should feed kibble, right? Like my dogs get real whole food, and I am all for like the seasoned and primal food that your animal should get. But it is interesting to show that those dogs still live to be 16, 17, 18 years old,
I
just eating Roy, but they were living outside all the time. Now, granted, those dogs probably didn't get as many vaccines either, and that's certainly a hot topic that thankfully on private chats like this we can have. But yeah, it really has more to do with the energy we're receiving from the light and dark cycles and from the ground that we're no longer giving our modern pets or ourselves.
So how does red light actually heal? Like how can you like capture it, put it in a product, and actually stimulate hyperhealing?
Yes. So the science part of it, and I'll kind of keep it on the superficial level, the red and near infrared, actually any light that comes from the sun, any light that we're getting from a device even, it's coming down and it's sending photons from that light, which is just little packets of energy and little packets of information. And so that information and photon comes into the body, and the light scatters throughout the body, depending on what kind of light source it is. And with like our products and red and the infrared with LEDs, it'll come in and scatter uniformly through the body and send the perfect message that it needs to. And so those messages go down to the mitochondria in the cell. Most people probably remember the mitochondria from biology school. It's the little organelle in the cell. You have one in every single cell. And for the germaphobes, if there's any here, mitochondria are bacteria. So you have trillions of bacteria running your body. They create a couple of things besides just energy for your body. They create ATP, which is your energy. They also create hydration in the form of easy water, which is your fourth stage of water. They did not teach us that in biology school either. We were told there was three. Your easy water is like the plasma that goes around your cell that protects the cell from viruses, bacteria, toxins, invaders, all of that. So the mitochondria is responsible for building that. It's also responsible for creating heat in the body with near infrared that it creates itself. So even your own cells create its own biophoton light and energy and heat once it gets the correct coding. But your mitochondria is very sensitive to your environment, and they respond to what those light triggers are. So the light goes into the mitochondria and asks it to do its job faster and more efficiently, like a Ferrari instead of a golf cart. Right now, we have all of our mitochondria running like golf carts because we're around artificial light that is literally starting to prove in science that it will slow the mitochondria down at whatever age you're in. So that's why we're starting to see so many issues early on at young ages. So the light goes in and innervates with the mitochondria, tells us to do its job better. And so then you just get an increase in the efficiency of how your body runs, which is why it's so cool to make a full body product, because then it just gives that whole systemic effect to the actual whole body instead of just one isolated area, which is really only what's been out on the market for the most part.
It's interesting, like you talked about the body clock. And I want to kind of jump back to that because is there any time you shouldn't expose your body to red light?
Not really. I will say that there's sometimes case dependence, and more so with humans, obviously, because we can give feedback a little better than animals can most of the time. Sometimes, if a device is super high powered, like there's a lot of red light panels out there that they're like, we're the most high powered and we're the most expensive. Don't buy them. But if you have those, they might be too stimulating and it would keep you up at night. With our human blanket and our other blankets and stuff that we've had, even with humans using it and using it on their pets, I haven't had any feedback from that at all. It actually helps the animal relax and they can go to bed. Some of the science that's coming out now on circadian rhythms and red light therapy, it is showing that red light therapy seems to do really well in the morning. And that does make sense naturally. Like those
Right.
frequencies that we get in the morning are the best frequencies. Like the morning's the best time of day now for me. I love it. I didn't used to be an early riser at all until I changed all this in my life. But those are the best frequencies that are just meant for so many healing in your body. But honestly, I have had us use these products, any time of day, every day, and it's just going to help no matter what. And ours aren't these increasingly overly high powered stimulating devices either. So you just have to be careful on that level.
So, how long is a session? How much is your max use, I guess?
So each one of our devices are programmed for a 15-minute treatment time, except for our handheld device. It's a 3-minute treatment time. It's a little more high powered just because I made the torch available with its attachment piece, which I can show you guys, to be able to go into sensitive areas like the eye, nose, mouth, ear, and anus or rectum issues. And lasers can't go to those areas because it'll burn the tissue. It's too sensitive. But most animals are probably not going to want you in those areas for 15 minutes. So we have the Lowly Torch device here, and I can turn it on. And so I can, do eye treatment, nose treatment, mouth, ears, and rectum.
And it's safe for the eyes.
It is safe. It'll actually help eyesight. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
So these are only 3-minute sessions because, again, you wanted it a little more high powered, so it's done at 3 minutes, so that you can kind of get in and out of those sensitive areas. But you could also use this for, the paws or any isolated area, or if somebody's on a budget and they're just wanting to try red light therapy first before investing in a blanket. These things are a great introductory product to get it in the hands of owners to just start trying it. I never travel without this thing. I use it on my stomach when I'm flying, so I can try to keep regular in the bathroom, TMI. But this thing is great to use on the stomach and other areas. All of our other devices are timed for 15 minutes, and really it just came down to that specific time because in the science, you want to be delivering somewhere between 5 to 30 joules per centimeter squared. That's how light is measured for its dosage. There's over 7,000 scientific articles behind red light therapy already. So it is one of the most studied modalities available over pharmaceuticals, vitamins, supplements, and other modalities. There's a couple of reasons. There's a couple of parameters that showed what was the best beneficial studies. Number one is it was low powered lasers, which either means it was LEDs or very low class lasers, or an LED device. So low powered was the best. Number two, contact method, actually having it like on the tissue or on the fur of the animal. And then making sure that you're delivering that same dosage between 3 to 30 joules per centimeter squared. And we definitely make sure that we, have ours tested and we're delivering somewhere between 10 to 12 joules per centimeter squared for each one of those 15-minute sessions. Now, depending on the case of the customer, if we have a cancer case, or like our hero journey or hero story on our website is Marley. He was a paralyzed dog. He was paralyzed for a year. Nothing helped him. We got him a dog soul blanket, and we were hitting him with 30-minute sessions twice a day in the very beginning, just because I knew he needed a lot of light. And so they would do 2 sessions in the morning and 2 sessions in the afternoon, but he was standing in 5 days and walking in 14. And then we down titrated to where now he just gets a session once a day that's 15 minutes, but he gets to walk 30 minutes every day. He gets up on his own, pees on his own, eats on his own. He gets to be a dog again, due to light. So we sometimes will change the protocols just based on the actual diagnosis of what's going on. But if you're wanting just like a maintenance or performance enhancement or longevity type of thing, then I just recommend at least a session a day. We have to remember we are deficient in this. So if your dog or animal was deficient in selenium, vitamin C, vitamin K, you're either going to feed it through whole foods or you're going to supplement it. Well, your 2-year-old dog or 3-year-old horse, it's already deficient in red and near-infrared light therapy. So you can hit it with as much light as you want. With LEDs, you can't cause any type of burns or harm or overdosage like you can with lasers. And so you really can't overdo it. You can't mess it up. The cell's just going to fill up with light as much as it can. And then when it can't take any more, you're just not going to receive any more beneficial effects until you let it integrate in the body to get your next session. But I haven't seen that happen yet because we are so deficient in light.
So do you ever see a Herx reaction from it?
I have not yet. I will say, like, I haven't had any personal clients that have like Lyme. I've had a couple of horses with EPM that have gotten very small dosages through like the bell boot or a torch. I think somebody in your course actually got one just recently for an EPM horse.
Yeah, Julie. Julie's like, I got my torch today.
Actually, Janet is on the call right now.
I haven't seen any Herxheimer's reactions. Like I've definitely seen, with people that might have, Lyme or EBV or parasites or something like that. I haven't seen that yet with the full body sessions. I would say I think I'll see it with horses and dogs if they do have a specific issue going on. The only thing I might see a little bit more of is they're actually a little more tired right after the session because their body's like, oh crap, I needed like all that light and I need to chill out and integrate it. And so sometimes I'll see older arthritic dogs, or like I've got some really painful arthritic horses in California right now that are trying out our horse blanket. And I mean, the horse almost looks like it's going to fall down because it's getting so relaxed from all of the light and inundation. But after that, I mean, the body's just going to use it and then go. So that's really I wouldn't necessarily call it a bad effect, but I do see some of them like sleep or rest a little bit more right after the session to let the body really get through it. And then they're, zipping with more energy a little bit later in the day.
That's awesome. Jackie, gosh, you're like blowing my mind a little bit because I just keep thinking, well, if we're so deficient in light, how can we even process our nutrition? Like it's all hand in hand.
They're not doing a very good job at it. Look at all of I know on the human side of things, when I used to teach about quantum biology before really taking off with the animal stuff, I mean, what is it? Like 70% of people are 60% of people are diabetic, 80% are pre-diabetic. I can't remember how many million people have like gut issues, but we see it on the animal side as well. I mean, we have, obese dogs and horses. We have metabolic issues that came out of like where? Well, guess what? The blue light that's coming from your tech screens, your LEDs, and your fluorescent light bulbs, it increases your blood sugar before you've even eaten a salad or a donut, before you've even eaten a kibble or a raw bone. It is increasing their blood sugar in their body, which is already just going to cause chaos through the rest of the body for the rest of the day. And then we're going to supplement it, and then we're going to overburden the kidney and the liver and the gut and all these things. And so it can just be this catastrophe where we're starting to see now, like, we're trying so many things and we're spending so much money and energy, and the elephant in the room is light, you know? So, and it's not to say that like supplements and herbs and tinctures and all that aren't necessary and needed, because they definitely help, and they are. Like, I'm always game, especially for tinctures. If you think about herbal tinctures, they have a light code, right? Like, they've been grown outside underneath the sunlight, plucked by somebody's loving hand and energy, and then put into a bottle to preserve all of that. Most of our supplements are made in a factory under artificial lights that are heat processed. So how much are we actually getting out of those sometimes? You know, we just have to be careful there with those decisions. But light, if you add on red light to anything else that you're doing, it's just like a biostacker, actually. It's just going to increase the efficacy rate of everything. So let's talk a little bit maybe about like what red light has actually done, because some of the new science that's just recently come out like within this year is huge. So when we talk about gut issues, most everybody, I'm sure, being on the more natural holistic path, you know that your gut is your second brain, right? Like, it controls so much in your body. It's not just your microbiome that's in your gut that's built there for digestion. It's also your immune system is built there, your sexual hormones are built there, and your feel-good hormones like your serotonin, dopamine, you know, and
Melatonin.
thank you. And so all of that is made in your gut. Well, if we have all of our gut issues like leaky gut, IBS, you know, any type of inflammation, ulcers in horses, things like that, you're obviously not digesting and adapting very much well at all. And so red light therapy has already come out just recently, a study that showed it's healing the gut lining just using red light therapy on its own. And it also helps increase positive bacteria for the microbiome just using red light therapy. Just like
So you're saying like you take your red light blanket or your torch and it can actually penetrate all the way to the gut.
So our devices have red and near infrared in them. And so your red is your superficial wavelength that goes about 10 millimeters into the tissue. So that's only your surface level stuff, you know, surgeries, wounds, skin issues, things like that. Your near infrared can go up to 50 millimeters into the tissue. That goes all the way down to like your bone marrow, nerve, organs, deeper tissues, and especially all of our devices, since we have 5 wavelengths and most devices only have 1 or 2. We have the 810 nanometer in our devices, which is a near infrared wavelength, and it has already been proven to be strong enough to go through the cranium. Our skull is pretty thick. And so you can use that to get to the brain and any cognitive issues. But if it's that strong to go through the brain, it's certainly going through your vertebrae down to the nerve and down to the bone marrow and any of your structures of the body, and certainly the organs. And so, and then creating a full body product like we did, you're getting that systemic effect in the body by illuminating so much of a surface area instead of just an isolated, you know, knee or elbow or paw or something. All of them help, of course, but if you've got a really sick animal or if they're very deficient in light, that full body product is really what's going to be, you know, optimal there. So that's where it's showing it's helping the gut and gut healing. And we have a couple of clients and customers now that have gut issues that are working with the blanket now. And I'm really excited to hear their feedback. Already a couple of them in like 2 weeks, their dog stopped having diarrhea and they haven't been able to fix that for months. So just helping calm down that inflammation, even in the gut, is going to help, you know, skin issues and eczema and allergies and things like that. All that stuff comes from your gut. So red light therapy can definitely help with that. When we talk about the metabolic issues, which I'm just so super excited to bring this to the animal side, they're showing on human studies now that just illuminating a 4x6 space on somebody's back for 10 minutes reduced blood sugar by 30%.
Wow.
10 minutes of a little square of red light therapy. So it's incredible to show how strong light is. So could we use that light on metabolic animals now to help them? Because obviously when we have metabolic animals, that's just diabetes for the animals. Their wounds don't heal as fast. They don't heal as fast. They don't perform as well. They don't live as long. They have secondary complications, especially horses, laminitis, and founder. And so if we can start helping with that by using red light therapy and teaching people to go outside more, I really think that we can change some of those issues. Another cool study that just came out about a month ago, it was a triple-blind placebo study, I think with like 9,000 people. Don't quote me on the number, but it was a big study of humans in the ICU unit. Just by using 10 minutes of red light therapy a day, they got them out of the ICU 30% faster. So what if every single surgical hospital had a red light therapy blanket for dogs and horses for post-op?
Well, the science is so amazing. You almost wonder, why don't they just have red light lamps over surgery tables? And why don't we red light our food at this point? Like, I feel like the modern house will be totally different, but I do think it's a conspiracy, like a legitimate.
Yes.
I really feel like they changed the bulbs to make us sicker.
Well, there's truth on both sides, right? Like, I definitely wear a copper tinfoil hat. So I'm right there with you for sure. They want us to be sick so that we're in the hospital.
Copper. You're like, it's not aluminum.
Yeah,
we
copper's
we don't
prettier
do
and
aluminum tinfoil hats. We do copper
it's
tinfoil hats.
copper. It's prettier and it's very conductive of energy. So I wear a copper hat. But so yes, I do think there's definitely that side of it. But I also know that, like, as monkey human beings that we are, we like to obviously progress and do things better and easier. And so initially we thought, oh, we're going to save money on our electricity bill and change the light bulbs, right? Like, it could have been as innocent as that in the beginning, but unfortunately we're seeing something almost as bad as, like, asbestos, basically, for humans, like with our modern light, and it's all starting to finally come out. But it's funny when you say, man, I wish they would have had, like, red light therapy over the surgical tables before. We actually used to have solariums in our hospitals from, like, the 40s to the 60s. People were wheeled outside that had, like, they had just gotten their leg cut off, or they had some type of crazy infection or burn. They went outside to heal these people. So, like, what happened to those? And all the initial research that's been done on red light therapy started with NASA putting red light therapy on food so it could grow in space. So as those things that you're just saying, I'm like, yeah, we were doing that. It's super unfortunate because, number one, you can't patent light. Like, we have a patent because it's our design, and we have a design on the belly band for the blanket, but you can't patent light, right? So all the elites and all the corporations, they can't make a crap load of money because they can't actually patent the light. And if they start healing you and getting you out of the hospital faster, then they lose more money. So yes, there is definitely that side of it. And it's super unfortunate. And I think on the animal healing side, I think since lasers have been around since the 70s, but I think they've been very limited to truly show the power of light because, number one, they're so expensive for people to get their hands on that if a practitioner decided to buy one, they're spending anywhere from $30,000 to $80,000 on a laser, and then they have to recoup that money. So then they're charging the client, however much per session. I mean, Marley, he was getting charged $200 for a 30-minute session. The owner couldn't afford it. And so you have this logistical problem of it's very inconvenient to get your customer to you 3 or 4 times a week, or you get to them, right? And then that costs money, so it gets expensive. And then it's kind of like, is this flashlight thing like really going to work? And so since we're not illuminating every single day, you're not even seeing all the power that's possibly there. Well, LEDs change that. I mean, I'm sure laser companies are going to hate me eventually in the future, and I probably can't legally say that we're replacing that, but we are, because we're showing now that you can still get this same amazing healing benefits and results with LEDs. A little more time goes into it, but that's why I made a wireless, hands-free, on and off easy power button device that makes it as easy as possible for the owner so you can have it right at home. And the price points are for sure way more accessible than a freaking laser. And some of our devices are outperforming some of those expensive at-home lasers.
Amazing.
So, it's just with new technology, we should be able to do new technology to make things more effective, but also more accessible. And that's another point of ours. Like, it makes me sick that some of these companies are charging what they are for red light therapy because it's the new trend. And they're not educated, and they're not putting the right products and things into their products. But so you just have to be, careful there. And yeah, I don't know how we got on that rabbit trail.
Well, I love the copper hat.
You sort of considered. I was like, oh, I'll run with that.
Julie, go ahead.
As far as the hospitals, I just read somewhere that they were using red light in one of the hospital or OR rooms. So they are starting somewhere. I don't know where I saw that, but somewhere.
Well, and Bernard Jensen was one of the people in California that had solariums in the 40s and the 50s, and he is the American iridologist. And so it's very exciting that we're getting back to nature. It's ridiculous, but also we're so far removed. And
well, when my mom was in the hospital checking out, they actually came in and asked if they could do an aroma touch with essential oils on her. And I just sat there like blown away. Like, you want to do that to my mother?
Wow. Yeah. That's
pretty
impressive
cool.
for the hospital.
And they said, and you too, we need to relax you and calm you.
Yes.
So
it is calming. Trisha bought a blanket for her dog, and she says her dog's really calm in it. And so you can do it several times a day because animals are crazy deficient, which
Yeah.
is tragic. And I also think because the smog and the ozone and the chemtrails and all of that, we're
Your Wi-Fi router, let's not even start on that one, right?
girl, I had some blood work done early this year and they're like, you're borderline pre-diabetic. I'm like, how could that be? I eat so darn healthy and you're telling me my Wi-Fi did it to me. And so now I'm like so convicted. I want to like quit doing everything. And it's affecting our animals too, because your animals are like right there all the time. They're kind of tech support for you. So yeah, we're just damaging everything. The cost of convenience.
Yeah.
So I love this. That red light torch that you have is so
Yeah.
crazy bright that I can understand where 3 minutes is enough. But you would do like 3 minutes here, 3 minutes here, or would it just cover your whole body?
You can actually do move it around, but when you're doing acupoints, you could do just 30 seconds and
Yeah.
it's that effective.
Yeah, we're showing that it is releasing, like if you do have a practitioner or you're working with an acupuncturist that knows certain points for your animal's diagnosis, it's super great to have the torch because then you can come home and you can use this on the acupuncture point. And yes, it's a 3 minute time session in the device, but we're already showing that the light is stimulating the point in within about 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds. So you could just do 30 seconds on a point and then move to the next one that your acupuncturist, or if you're the actual therapist working with it, can do as well. If you don't have the attachment piece, you can just use it as like, it looks like a flashlight piece that's, about that big around, and you can use that anywhere on the body. And yeah, you can do it for the 3 minutes. You can kind of go based off of how Jolie has there, how your dog or your animal's responding as well. They do tell us like what they need. They might lean into it more. They might about a minute in be like, all right, that's good at that spot. Move it somewhere else. They do talk to us, in their own way. So I kind of go based off of like, your pet better than anyone. And we always want to, influence and support that.
So
And
there's
what's
theory
nice,
that different colored lights work on different colored things. And so do you play with like green and yellow or blue or any of that, or are you just strictly red?
Yes and no. There is some science out. I will admit there's not enough science out quite yet now to show how monochromatic light helps, which means just that color by itself. I will always base our products off of what I've learned in quantum biology and off of nature. I don't think nature makes any mistakes, and she's the original healer. So when you are outside, you never get monochromatic light. You will never get one color all by itself ever. And that's actually what's so artificial and bad for us with all of our tech screens and modern light bulbs. It's only shining blue on us. We would never get blue all by itself ever in nature. And so, but I will say blue is naturally antiviral and antibacterial. And there are hospitals already that are using, UV filters and UV light bulbs to actually be antibacterial in the hospital. So I will say with our torch, in our very first selection here, you probably can't tell on screen, but we actually have a blue wavelength that's put into our first option here, but it's with red and near infrared. And so you can use blue on any type of bacteria or fungal or skin issue you've got going on. So think like, roundworm or ringworm, mange, any type of like just skin irritation. You can use the blue on that to help fight the bacteria and the fungus, but then you're going to have the red and the near infrared at the same time, healing the tissue at the same time.
I love
We
how
have
you
not.
said that.
and
It's so cool because herbs are complete, right? They're perfect the way they are. And I get so mad when people like make isolates.
Yeah.
And so it makes absolute sense. The sun is not an isolate.
No, no, nothing in nature really is, right? We have 4 seasons. Like right now, the trees look dead.
Yeah.
But that's because they have that winter season of resting and hibernating and being cold. Like we don't do that anymore as modern mammals and domesticated animals. Like we don't go get cold exposure. We're in a balmy 74 degrees year round with either AC or heat and our windows and our cars and our offices. Our mitochondria are supposed to get light and dark cycles and hot and cold cycles. And so, yeah, I will always base our information based off of how nature works, and she never has monochromatic light. It's not to say that I don't think there are some effects because light is that powerful, But also at the same time, like red and near infrared is killing it. So like if we added another color, I mean, okay. But like I think a lot of that kind of stuff, to be honest, in my opinion, is just low hanging fruit and like a marketing ply to like sell their product, to be
That
honest. If
makes
you have a
sense.
good red and near infrared product, it is going to do the job no matter what. We decided to add the blue onto the torch because I do think in like, bacterial cases or, clinical cases, that's definitely going to help. But we still added it with the red and near infrared because that's what you would get in nature.
And
Terry's
with glow,
asking a really great question. Terry's saying, do you have any lights with sound wave?
I don't. I have seen that there are some products out that have that as well. I definitely believe in sound healing. Like I go to sound baths, I do breath work, I love frequency work. I'll just admit that I don't have enough experience in that specific therapy that I have added it to our devices. I kind of try to like stick in my lane of what I know and what I'm good at. And again, the red and near infrared light is killing it. And so I don't really feel like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And so I think probably some of those ideas are great. But again, really with any device that people are trying to sell you and get your money for, just make sure like they are researched, they're putting the science on their page, they know what they're talking about, what is their history, what are their studies. Like just make sure that you're getting a well-rounded, safe product. If it's something that plugs into a wall, it's going to have non-native EMFs. That's going to be very inflammatory to the body. And so just be careful with the products you select. I'm definitely not downing frequency devices or sound devices. I believe all of that works. And I'm so happy that like we're heading towards a future that's going back to original healing, which is light, water, magnetism. That's sound and healing and light and frequencies. I'm so glad for that. But there are ways that companies like to jump on the bandwagon just to make a buck, and just be very careful with that.
Absolutely. Terry
to
says
back,
they respect that. Julie,
hello.
what?
Sorry.
Yes.
To backtrack to blue, what's nice about blue is if you have surgery, an incision, a cut, the blue will help heal it up quicker and keep the bacteria because it's antibacterial, antimicrobial. It's actually healed MRSA really quickly on animals, and you put the red and the infrared in, and you just like kick butt with it.
Yeah,
Fun.
that's a great point. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, Terry's also saying using a TENS unit not to be used with red light, or can you mix different modalities? And I love the fact that you hate plugged in devices because I hate plugged in devices.
Do you know how many people that write to me still? And it's no judgment, right? Like everybody's just learning and we don't know what we don't know. But I have so many people that'll see my videos and see what I teach about in the quantum biology. And so the grounding is also another just big factor, right? Like we get free energy from the ground, like legit free energy. And there's so much science behind grounding showing like diabetic wounds healing that the hospital couldn't ever heal, and chronic pain going away, and inflammation, and like swelling in legs just by standing outside with your bare feet on the ground. And I will get so many people that text me right now and they'll be like, so what do you think about them grounding sheets? And I'm like, just go stand outside. Please just go stand outside. Because
Well, and
what the companies don't tell you is that the wire that's for the grounding is plugging into your DC electric outlet of your wall, which is probably dirty electric by now because of the way our stuff is wired in our houses now. And then it's going to go onto the bed, onto the sheets that you're going to touch with your skin that are supposed to be healing. And if you don't put the other grounding rod outside in the ground through your window, which most companies either don't provide or they don't tell you that, you're actually creating more inflammatory response from a non-native EMF being plugged into the wall than you are grounding the sheets.
it's so awful.
Might as well ground in linen, like linen and cotton, any of your natural resource materials, like those will actually give you free energy. Like just buy a set of linen sheets, just buy a set of cotton sheets, like those things will help you so much. I literally saw an ad the other day for like, it makes me happy that this stuff is coming out to start teaching people, but sometimes I'm like, man, people are crazy for a buck. There's literally like a square of like a turf grass that somebody's making in a square that you buy for $200 and you can stand on it so you can ground.
That's ridiculous. Now,
My
what if
neighbors
you,
think I'm crazy because I'm always walking around barefoot, even when it's
I'm always barefoot. I'm such a feral
walking
hippie.
down the street, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
so what if you used your red light? Is it different on the ground and outside? Like, would you get more benefit from an animal standing on the ground using red light?
I can't say yes because I don't have any clinical data behind that. My assumption would be yes. Granted, with our devices, we do have, lithium batteries in them. So like you don't want that stuff exposed to like extreme cold or hot temperatures for a long period of time. So I mean, these devices were definitely meant to be used inside, but that doesn't mean that we don't say, hey, get your animal outside. My dogs go out and I'm sure everybody here, you get your dog outside, they go lay out in the sun if they're not forced, to come back inside or forced on a walk or something. They're going to go lay out in the sun. My dogs roll over and show their belly to the sun so it can get exposed to light. So really, we're always going to push the message of just getting your dog outside more often than not.
Yeah, I actually have a foster dog right now who lived in a kennel for a year. And he's finally, like, every morning, if it's not cold, he stays out for hours and hours and hours. And I'm like, it's just like us. I was a 60s kid. So we were kicked outside and told not to come in till the lights came on. And so we spent our whole time outside. But this next generation, every generation's weaker and weaker.
Yes, and that shows you that it's a light problem. And sorry, actually, your original question was from somebody that asked about kind of stacking on top of red light therapy and other products. So yes, you can use red light therapy on top of any other modality, pharmaceutical, vitamin, and all it's ever going to do is just increase the efficacy rate of whatever you're using. There's even research that's already been shown for some of the like PRP and stem cell injections that people are doing now for joints and for health. Those things are very good. They're spendy, they're good, but their efficacy rate on their own is only about 55 to 60%. The study actually showed if you use red light therapy immediately after, it increased the efficacy rate to 75 to 80%. So,
And that makes sense because of the mitochondria.
Yeah, the photons are going in, the stem cells and that PRP, like where to go. They're giving them better directions than we just flood it in with the needle, and they're kind of like, okay, it looks like we should maybe go over here, or maybe go over here. So the red light therapy helps give those directions. But yeah, I have clients that use red light therapy with, PEMF or with Adequan or with injections. I will say just pay attention to your animal and their response, right? Like sometimes, even though all these devices are good and helpful, our animals are way more sensitive than we are. And so just make sure that you're not imploding their nervous system with too much information at one time. The red light therapy definitely drops them down into that rest and digest period of the parasympathetic nervous system, and it'll do its job. But maybe you do the red light therapy in the morning and you do your PEMF in the afternoon. They've got convenient mats and things for that too. But just test it and just see how your animal responds. But it's certainly, the red light therapy is not going to hurt or overdose any other, modality, vitamin or product.
So you wouldn't
wouldn't do an sissy at the same time that you're doing the blanket. Like you would spread them out.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do a beamer blanket and do the red light while I'm doing a beamer.
You could. I would just go based off of how the animal's responding. If you end up putting too much information into the nervous system, then sometimes you can kind of overdo that on the nervous system side. If the animal's responding well, then I'm okay with it. But I definitely always say like kind of pay attention to your animal and make sure that they're handling both at the same time.
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you, Terry, for that. And anything else you want to address? What kind of equipment do you have? So I know you have like a bell boot. I know you have the torch.
Yeah.
You have a blanket, a whole blanket.
Julie's got hers handy. So Julie's got the dog soul
blanket. So this is
okay.
So here's the coat. You can use it as an actual flat pad. But what's nice about it, you put it on your dog. You have the patented belly band that we talked about that goes underneath the belly, works on the gut microbiome, and your animal can walk around for 15 minutes with this on, do whatever they want while they're getting light sessions. So they're getting light and they've got freedom to do whatever they want.
Jolie, open that up for me again. Is there anything on the neck too?
Yeah, there's a collar.
Yep. And for our littler dogs, that's going to be half the size because it's too much on the big dogs. I mean, on the little dogs. Mm-hmm. On the bigger dogs, it's much better. And then you could, like for me, when I blew out my ankle, I wrapped this around my ankle and around my leg, and it was awesome.
Yeah, me too.
And you could, they could lay on it as a pad. You could do it, on their shoulders, on their hip, on their rump. There's so much versatility with it.
You want to turn it on real quick, Julie, so they can see the lights?
And while you're doing that,
you just push One little button.
And look at all that pretty light.
It looks like a disco. Get a little rave music going, but we want it at 444 hertz instead of 440. Yeah.
And what's really nice about all of our pads and equipment, we put the battery internal, unlike all the other companies that are out there. So it's not in the way, but you still have access to it if you need it. When you charge it, there's a little, you may not see it, USB port here. You just plug it in with the USB.
Okay, great.
Easy peasy.
Aaron Murphy is asking about essential oils, using it with it. Do you use it before, after, during?
After. You don't want to get the oils
on that, because she actually has a little bit more experience of using essential oils with red light therapy. So I'll let her roll on that.
With essential oils, you don't really want to get it on the equipment. So that's the main reason why you want to do it after. It'll break down if you have, if there's do we have, I don't even know. Yeah, the glass and everything, that the oils can break that down, and you would have to change it at some point. And plus you get it mucky up all your pads with it. So you want to do it afterwards. And that's, probably the most beneficial. You're getting your light session and you're getting your essential oils.
Okay. And what size for a 130-pound Rottweiler?
Woof. He's
the horse blanket.
He's probably, yeah, right? He's probably a large. So we can go back to your question of kind of like what we have available. So the dog soul blanket that you just saw that Julie showed, we have 6 sizes of that. So the smallest size is going to be, your Yorkshire Terrier, Chihuahua, Shih Tzu. And then the extra large goes all the way up to like a Great Dane, Saint Bernard kind of size. So the Rottweiler would probably be a large. We do have a measurement chart on the website. I always tell people to go off of the base of the measurements off of the back. That way you're definitely covering the full body. The chest piece and the belly band are adjustable, whether the dog is more narrow or more wide or more fur. So we have 6 sizes of the dog blankets, and then we have equine leg wraps and bell boots. And again, all of our products are safe for all mammals. So even though we say it's made for this specific species, everyone can use it, including you, the human. So I've even had, like Julie has used the bell boot, and I have some other clients that have like tiny, like teacup chihuahuas. They bought the bell boots for their horse, but they can wrap the bell boot around their little dog and use it for treatment as well. So we have bell boots for horses. And then we came out with a handheld device that I showed you with the torch. And then we have it was called the cat soul pad. It's just a flat pad that we had because people started asking me about cats. And again, this was this whole evolution of like Equisole of horses and dogs, and then came into like, oh yeah, I want to help cats and all animals. So I made a pad that you could put like in a pet carrier. Well, now with a pet carrier pad, you can use that on any animals. So we have wildlife rehabilitation people that are starting to use it for, owls, raccoons, foxes. We've put a parrot, we've put a rooster in there. So we are going to change that over to just our Animasol red light therapy pad, because it'll just be a pad. And you can use that on your dog, on your cat, on yourself, on whatever you want. And then the next...
It's nice to also with the pad, put it on the bottom of the crate, or even like Carrie Hyde puts it on top of the crate and shines the light down. It's not as effective because it's not contact, but if you have an animal that's, difficult, you still are getting light to it.
Getting used to it there.
That's smart. So if you have an animal that's a little claustrophobic, you can do it kind of like that. Is just on the crate.
So there's a coat on my little girl. So you can get a sense. And then let me show you with the leg wraps and the bell boots what we were talking about. Let me see if I can find a picture.
And while you're doing that, Kim's asking about anal glands.
We just have 2 more last products that will come out after the new year. So we do have a full horse blanket that will come out. We're going to release it on Valentine's Day. So it's a full horse blanket with a belly band with a neck and pole piece.
Wow.
And we are actually going to come out with a human blanket probably 30 to 45 days after that. And the human blanket's phenomenal. It looks like a sleeping bag. It rolls up so it can travel with you. Most people that are using red light therapy panels, they can't take that with you very well, and you still have to stand in front of it with a distance and rotate around. I don't even use mine anymore. Like, my blanket's awesome. I get in there and fall asleep, and it just feels amazing. And it's big enough that technically, like, if you just wanted to get that for you and you have a dog that can lay on it, they could just lay on it with you and get their red light therapy too.
You want me to show a picture of it?
I have seen face masks for anti-aging, and it cracks me up because they never include the neck.
I know, right?
And I'm like, what the heck? Like, you'll have this beautiful red light face and this like chicken neck.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
So that is the leg wrap as wrapped around Candy's 7 pounds here.
Okay.
And that's the bell boot around her neck.
Okay.
So we did both that way. Let me show you what the leg wrap and hold on. Do I even have one?
So on a cushnioid horse, would you actually do maybe the pituitary gland directly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And thyroid
Yes.
glands.
Yes. You could use the torch initially for just like those very isolated spots if you wanted to. And the torch has 810 as well, so it can go deep enough for that. But you could use the bell boots, and the leg wraps can go anywhere on the body opened up. So I'll have a lot of people do the bell boots right here on the pole under the halter, because that's an area that just carries a lot of tension anyways muscularly from being ridden. But you would also, be able to innervate with all of those structures as well.
Right, because that would address the pituitary gland like that. Interesting. And all the gelding scars.
Yes. So
Yeah.
the bell band is definitely going to help with that. Yeah. So Julie's just showing what the bell boots look like on the horse, and all of this.
And you get two. You don't just get one, and everything comes in a case with all the directions and all the hookups that you need for it.
I love that you do 2 bell boots, Jackie. Thank you, because you could actually like overlap them and make a bigger space for a throat latch type.
I have a lot of horse clients that will have the leg wraps too, and you can open those and attach the Velcro together, so then you make a pad that's like, yay big. And so they'll put that on the lower back, on the neck, on the withers. And so it's just helpful for like, the horse blanket, of course, people are waiting for, but also it's going to be a larger investment price point wise. So if people can't do that, they can use the leg wraps and the bell boots and use it all over the body. You're just going to be doing multiple sessions, which is fine. So.
Oh, so exciting. So many good comments. And there's a lot of people in the chat that have thrown some questions.
Do you want me to show the video you took at the show?
They'll be able to.
Because it shows the horse.
The red light ppm. He definitely responded. Okay, that's not a question. And we covered sessions.
I had someone worried about a cat and my dog eyes as they were laying on my mat.
Yeah, because somebody asked if it's just the torch. So all of our products are low-powered LEDs with red and near-infrared. So they're all safe for your eyes. You don't have to worry at all for any type of harmfulness for your eyes.
And actually curative.
It will actually help. Yes, absolutely.
Can we say that word?
I guess on your...
I'm like, whoops, sorry. We're still on Facebook, so they didn't kick us off for that.
If you guys want to see the horse pad, I'm going to show you a video. And then if you look closely, there's a massage table behind it. That's the human. Okay, so what happened to it? There it is.
While y'all are watching it, somebody did say they were asking about liniment. It's perfectly fine to do liniment in the morning and then use the red light at night.
Great.
That's fine. You would just want to make sure the liniment has soaked in and that it's not, still wet to affect the pad.
And so throwing that horse blanket on, it's massive, it's illuminating. And so you as a technician running this light all day long, I know when the P3 machine came out, it was, maybe it wasn't the P3, maybe I shouldn't have used the name, but technicians were getting sick on using on each horse all day long. And so this is safe. If you're a technician, you're throwing this blanket on 10 horses every day, it's not going to harm you.
No, you're perfectly fine there. I don't actually know what the P3 is, and I would assume if it was something that was plugged in, it was due to non-native EMFs that was making people sick. I've always been a little curious about the MagnaWaves that way because they plug in and they are a pulse electromagnetic frequency device. And anytime you ever use them, they tell you you're not supposed to have your cell phone on you while you're using the device. I think it'll clear out or blow up the phone. I don't know what the reasoning is, but I think it's because it's blasting so much non-native EMF. So I'd be super curious about that too.
So it was the original before the MagnaWave. And if you got it near like a pipe crowd, it would arc it.
Oh, wow.
It was so crazy powerful. And I do worry about MagnaWave and the MagnaWave technicians.
I'm not a fan of the machines at all. I'm a fan of frequency medicine. So like, if you look at like a beamer, it is a set low frequency that's also powered off of batteries that are not plugged in. And exactly. So I'm much more of a game changer and like support that then these MagnaWave devices, if you've got $8,000, you can go buy one and you can start just treating horses. You have no idea if it's helping or hurting. And I have seen it as a body worker fry horses, like fry them. So I'm not a fan of when companies sell a device that's supposed to be for healing for animals and they're not doing their due diligence by teaching correct animal behavior and how it works in the body and having some type of certification program. Like I'm not down for that.
And I agree totally. And I'm glad that you concur because I have never wanted a MagnaWave ever because of that. People are asking about your website.
I just posted, okay,
Yeah.
I posted the website, and I also posted a QR that you can enter for a raffle to win $50 to purchase a device. With the website, with that link I just gave you, you get 10% off your entire order every time you order. And you can go ahead and go win the $50 gift certificate and save some more money.
Now, we need to put it on the Facebook page, you guys, because we have quite a few people watching on Facebook. So,
can I get in there and do that?
what's just say your
okay.
URL.
ANIMASOL.life/positive, PAWSITIVESOL.
Okay. And you guys, I will, after the live stream's over, I'll post that. I'll have Julie post the viewing discount link because a little $50 off raffle. If you guys want to do that, that's great. Morning Bissonette saying she's still waiting for hers.
Yeah, hers got lost.
And Terry's asking, how heavy is the blanket?
The horse blanket?
Yes.
It's definitely got some weight to it, the way that we had to build it to be able to last a long time. I'd say the whole, like the actual blanket piece, because it'll be separate from the neck and pole piece, the blanket's probably close to 10 pounds. It's definitely got a little bit of weight to it, but not too bad.
I mean, a saddle weighs way more. I mean, and a Western saddle weighs way more than that.
No doubt, for sure. Yeah.
That's the human blanket.
Oh, good job, Jolie.
Yeah.
I can't put the raffle picture in there. It won't let me because it's Facebook, and there's the blanket closed up. So it's like a sleeping bag. And when you have little dogs like me, the three of us will get in there together.
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Does anybody else here have any other questions?
You guys, do you want to unmute yourselves and just ask questions? We can change our screen.
Yeah, I have one. On the human blanket, do you only lay in it for 15 minutes?
Actually, what's nice about the human one is it comes with a remote and you can do 5-minute sessions all the way up to 30 in 5-minute increments. So you can actually do up to 30. And I recommend 30 if you definitely have like some type of a diagnosis or an illness going on. My mom has a lot of chronic pain. She's fused at the neck and the lumbar. And so she does 30 minutes definitely every single day to kind of keep her moving around, she's not on opioids or anything like that, and just feeling good. I do about 15, 20 minutes, daily, especially in the winter right now when I'm not getting as much sunlight or red light.
Okay, thanks.
I know a lot of you guys know Naja and the Busted Bullies. Tonka and Summer, they have 2 coats and they use them daily, and it's gotten Tonka out of a lot of trouble.
That's amazing.
Medical trouble, I should say, not trouble. He's probably still getting in trouble.
So probably.
Jackie, is there anything you shouldn't use this on?
Honestly, there really isn't. I used to hate companies that were like, we're the cure for everything. But light truly does work. And as long as you have a good quality product, and I do believe we have built that, you can really throw this at everything. Now, there's a couple things it's not going to actually heal and cure that we've seen yet. If you have like a bone-on-bone joint, right, or really nasty arthritis with like a bone spur or something like that, it's probably not going to rebuild that whole cartilage for the joint, but it is going to give the natural pain relief, the hydration of the soft tissue around that area to be able to help that animal feel better, move better. Cancer treatments, which is always a really big topic in this industry because they worry about using red light therapy and giving energy to cells. There's a couple things that science has shown so far. Lasers, they do create a thermal heating effect. So they don't recommend using lasers on cancer treatments because you don't want to heat up tumors that are there or present. With red light therapy, again, if you have a good device that is not creating a thermal effect, you can use that on cancer sessions. Now, I've had a couple of cancer patients that have had our blankets already. And so one example was a friend of mine. She had a little Jack Russell Terrier. He was like 15 and he was riddled with cancer inside the body, like tumors all over the place. But she wasn't going to do surgery and she wasn't going to do chemo. So she was just trying to find everything that could just give him longevity and peace, right? And so they were actually going every 2 months and they were doing new ultrasounds to scan the size of the tumors and if there was any new ones. Well, she had our blanket for about a year. And she did say when we were using the blanket, he had more energy, he wanted to eat, he wanted to run around better. And every time they went and did new scans, he didn't have any new tumors and any of the tumors there hadn't grown. So yes, the cancer still got him, right? But she was able to have something to be able to help maintain his quality of life during that time.
So here's a story, a human story. Somebody who used a pad, had prostate cancer, was going in for the final visit before they were going for the surgery. They canceled the surgery because the tumors shrunk that much. And also, what was I just thinking? Oh, one thing that you can't use light with, you have to be cautious, is if you have something like a trigger finger, it will actually heal it back together again if you had the surgery to separate the tendon.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I know
it will repair what you actually had surgically removed for
right.
So
it did its job, just it
but
we needed it to cure the trigger finger altogether.
How powerful is that though, that it's that powerful that it mended it back together again? And I have pictures of scars that are just like nasty, and you could just see the whole thing just like gradually just heal and almost be nondescript. And Jackie's dog Valor, the one who's in the flyer, had a big cyst on his ear that they thought was an MCT, and she got rid of it with light.
It fell off. It was pretty crazy. And it was gnarly looking. Like it was black and oozy and scabby. I'm like, probably need it. I wasn't going to aspirate it, but they were probably going to just, put them under to chop it off. And I was like, well, I was developing the torch. I was like, let me just hit it with light and see first before doing all that. And I hit it with the torch 3 times a day. He was getting his blanket too, but I think the torch would have done its job anyways. And that's on our social media. You can see that case. But I mean, within, I think it was like 35, 40 days, it just fell off. Like it was just gone. It was
That's
cool.
So impressive. Ring bone, side bone, all of those things.
Yes, all of that would be super helpful. We've helped founder cases because, again, you have that catch-22 of like founder and laminitis. They have to stay in a stall. So they're not moving enough to get circulation going in the hoof, which is already lacking circulation to begin with, and they're in pain. So if your body has a pain signal going on, nothing else is going to work. Fertility, healing, motility, all that kind of stuff is not going to work if you still have a pain signal in the brain. And so at least with the bell boot, it was giving the animal a pain relief, and it was giving enough circulation to the hoof to just grow a little bit, even with stall rest, that like the farrier could get the rehab shoe on to get them comfortable enough to get them hand walking, and then you get more circulation, you get them outside, and a lot of those horses turn back around.
Amazing.
It also helps horses get out of colic. And with EEE, I mean, it's gotten many, many horses out of colic. You just use the handheld. Dogs for emergencies with the alarm point, by the nose. It's a great tool to have. People are not near the, ERs. It could take 2-3 hours to get to an ER. Problems always happen in the middle of the night.
Or on weekends.
Right. Or you can't get into the doctor a vet, like especially during COVID. If you have a tool at home, you can at least mitigate some of the problem. Like I know somebody who avoided orthopedic surgery with a broken hip on their dog, who got hit by a car on a holiday weekend. And by the time they could see an actual surgeon, the ER is like, you're going to have to do this, the kind of surgery. They got to the actual orthopedic. No surgery ever. Saved like $5,000 plus.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that paid for itself right there.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've helped dogs with CCL tears not have to have surgery, which is a $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 surgery just by using red light therapy on it. And you have to be consistent, but it works. It works.
And also the rehab from CCL surgery. I had a girl with a little tiny little dog, and she did both knees at the same time. That dog was up and running between that and essential oils.
Yeah.
Joyce is asking about edema.
Yes. Oh my God. So it takes away inflammation and swelling faster than I've ever seen. And even on old cases, so I'll bring up a case I did have in Louisiana. It was a horse. So I don't know if she's talking for herself or for a dog, but I had a client that had an old show jumping mare. So she was retired. They were using her for breeding. And her cannon bones were probably like this big around and set back on the tendons. And she just didn't move around much, real stiff and kind of cranky. I think she was about 21. And I was like, let's just throw a red light 15 minutes. I always do the bare minimum, 15 minutes a day and just see what happens, right? Because if that's the bare minimum, you can always do more. And so I had her measure the size of the leg because sometimes in pictures it's hard to kind of tell with swelling. And so I had her measure it. And I believe that when she measured it before we started the treatments, I think she had like a 14-inch cannon bone around the swelling. And in 4 days, it was down to 9 inches. Now, she was old and that was chronic, so we didn't really get any more reduction past that. But that was already 6 inches off in 4 days of swelling. And the mare started just walking around the paddock, like just feeling great. She was brighter in her eye, just felt better and wanted to move better. So it's quite incredible for that.
And then
I have a friend who had plantar fasciitis, so she started borrowing my other friend's light. That she also had a mastectomy and she was having a lot of problems with edema and what was it, mastitis or whatever. Yeah. She went to the PT. They were going to change her whole protocol because they just were not making any headway. And she just used the light for the weekend, went that Tuesday to PT, and everything had gone away. She was like blown away. The PT actually called me because all the edema, all the mastitis was gone.
That's so impressive. So Kim keeps asking about the anal glands. Would you use the torch for that or would you use the blanket?
Both.
I'm assuming she's having just chronic inflammation of the glands. It's kind of hard to give information on anything specific. I always think the optimal product truly is the blanket just because it's giving you that systemic effect. And you can also always open up the jacket like a blanket and lay it over their butt per se.
Right.
She's having maybe like a recurring thing or something where we do want maybe an insertion, then I would say the torch may be very good for that if she feels comfortable doing that. As an owner, if she doesn't feel comfortable inserting anything, then I would do the blanket and work with your vet as far as, expressions and things like that.
Well, and I always wonder, there's the anal gland's the end product. And so there's something disrupted within the whole system. So why wouldn't you just do the whole blanket and address systemically the whole system?
Actually, there's a case that I didn't even know if red light would help it or not, and I hadn't come across the case very much, but a lady from Canada reached out to me. She had a dog that had a peroneal hernia. So he had a big, huge hernia coming out of his anus. And apparently this is pretty common anymore. And the vets, he was intact. He was 8 years old, Pyrenees. And the vets wanted to do surgery on it to remove it, which is the most common treatment. But they want to take away his testicles because they're saying the testicles were the cause of a perennial hernia because of the testosterone causing the prostate to inflame, even though he'd already had all of his ultrasounds and his prostate was fine, normal size. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would you take nature away? Like, that doesn't make sense. I had found out from her, from the history of the dog, which I don't know why anybody else wasn't paying attention to this. They'd been in a car accident like a year prior, and he was in the back seat and got thrown forward, and he's got like this like hunch in his back. And I'm like, have you taken him to a chiropractor? And she's like, no. And I was like, I'm going to send you the red light blanket to try as a case study just because I'm super curious myself. And I was like, but I guarantee you he's probably got a nerve impingement, which is causing the hernia because of inflammation and backup of flow of circulation. Now, granted, a case like that, he'd been like that for a year. We did 15 minutes twice a day, and we are at 8 months finally since the case started, and it is completely gone.
Woo!
Gone. And he doesn't have he used to walk around with poop sticking out of his butt, like could not get it out. He has no problems with that anymore, like no issues, and just loves life again. It's just crazy. Like, it still blows my mind, even though I've been working with it for so long. It's just, light's incredible.
That's so fun. You must go to bed and just be so happy. Plus, you're like engulfed with red light. So, yeah. And then somebody asked about tinnitus and
yeah. I will say that I don't have any clinical backup study on that either. I would recommend the torch and putting it in your ear. But mostly on tinnitus, I would ask you what your environment is. Are you putting Bluetooth wireless headphones in your ears? First of all, stop doing that. You're microwaving your brain. That will cause tinnitus. Are you keeping your cell phone up to your ear? That will cause tinnitus. Are you keeping your Wi-Fi router on 24/7 when you sleep? That will cause tinnitus. So those would be things that I would like make sure you're somehow getting out of your lifestyle as much as possible, and then try the red light therapy and go from there.
Cool. That's wisdom. All right, you guys. I think that was great. Unless you guys have more questions in the gallery, you guys on Zoom, do you want to ask anything else?
I put in the Zoom and in Facebook the link so you can get 10% off of anything. If you click the red QR, and Facebook people will post it in Facebook later. I can't post it now. That'll enter you in the raffle, and it'll also send you my ebook. And in my ebook is all kinds of information, as well as more information on the website, which if you use that link. And there's stuff about all the products in the ebook as well.
So if I purchase this, can I use it on my face and my neck for beauty?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I be superficial for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll totally help. It'll totally help. I have dog clients who are like, yeah, I just take my dog's blanket and just throw it on my face. I'm like, yeah, do it.
In the morning, I'm laying there with both dogs with a blanket or a pad, me with a pad on my face and on my chest. If you do your umbilicus, your belly button, that is going to like clear up a lot in your whole body.
Can you advise using red light for eye floaters?
Yeah, I will actually say there was a company I was using a panel with years ago, and they gave me eye floaters, but it was because it was a high powered device plugged into a wall. It had a big cob thing in the center, and it was just too much for your eyes. But that just shows you have to be very careful who you're buying your stuff from. I would definitely say to try it. What's cool with the torch is what I recommend is you can actually stick it up your nose like this. So if you can tell, you can see the light comes all the way through my nose bridge to the corner of my eye. So we don't actually have cartilage at the very tip of our nose inside. And so it will literally go directly into your retina. So you don't even have to shine it like this in your eyeball. You can literally treat yourself through the nasal cavity into the retina that way. That's a lot more non-invasive. And again, these are 3-minute sessions. So I would do like both eyes, 3 minutes, maybe twice a day to start at, and give it, if you've had them for a long time, then just remember it's still going to take some consistency. But, try it for a couple of weeks up to a month and see how you're doing. And then you can always titrate down.
That actually looks like it feels good.
And actually,
it goes to your brain. It'll give you an energy boost. You want a caffeine boost? You just stick red light therapy up your nose.
And actually, what also helps with floaters is frankincense oil, but you have to use like something pure and quality, and just dot it around on the underside of your eyes.
Maybe some castor oil with that as the carrier. That would probably be good. Yeah, I like that.
Do you use it for 3 minutes aside of each side of your nose?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it while you're sitting there watching TV or.
And your sinus passages are huge. Your dog's sinus passages.
I was just going to say you could use it for I know so many people with sinus issues.
Oh yeah, and
if
you think you're getting sick, I've had so many people. You just torch your throat.
Oh my God.
For 3 minutes, anything that has pain. I'm telling you, when I do my belly 3 times on a plane ride, I have to go to the bathroom as soon as I get to the airport. Like, it's great. It'll get it going.
Well, and then you're in the public bathroom sharing everyone's bathroom biome. Kudos to you, like Odette Suter. She always takes pictures of herself going to the bathroom in public bathrooms. I'm like,
Why?
because she's merging biome with everybody else. I'm like, I'm so grossed out by that.
I mean, I don't know. It makes you stronger. But I'm a feral hippie that's in dirt all the time and don't go around public. I get my microbiome that way. But yeah.
Yeah, I love this sinus idea.
I throw the pad on my face. I have bad allergies. I'm in Florida, bad allergies here too. I just lay it on my face.
Yeah.
Helps the skin and helps the sinuses.
You can use any of the products. The torch for sure is a great first introductory product. It's great to have for emergency services for you or your animals. And then obviously just for healing and performance enhancement as well.
Fun. Deborah's saying, or is it Deborah? No. Joyce is talking about CAR T oncology blisters. So probably the torch would be something for that.
Yes, that's probably what I would try first.
So if it's a burn, is it okay to still use red light on a burn?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll just help the tissue heal faster. Because it's again, it's not creating any type of thermal effect where it actually heats up that tissue. It's just going down to the cellular level and asking the skin to replace itself faster.
I mean,
Excellent.
I've done it where I burnt myself, like, in the oven or stove, and I've done light, follow it with lavender and helichrysum essential oils, and like, you can't even. I had a slit in my finger. I put my hand in a drawer and there was a razor there. I didn't know it, and I slit the hell out of my finger. Light oil. The next day it was scabbed, and like 2 days later, you didn't even know I had a cut.
And you guys know I'm a big fan of ozone. So Joyce, you could always do the ozonated glycerin topically too.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, and like I said earlier too, it's just a great bio stack. So if you're already using ozone, if you're already using essential oils, the red light therapy is just going to increase that effect.
Right.
And I think somebody just asked about SIBO or IBD. So yeah, I don't know if you missed the science earlier, but yeah, red light therapy is already showing on the human side to be healing gut lining, helping with IBS and IBD, and actually increasing positive gut microflora bacteria.
Orthopedically, one day I was outside, my foot caught on the grass, I fell. I was laying on the sidewalk. I could have sworn I broke my wrist. I was screaming bloody murder. Nobody heard me. And I finally, I was like, I don't know how they didn't hear me. I was like screaming so loud. I was in so much pain.
Because nobody cares anymore, Julie.
Exactly.
Everybody thinks they're going to get shot and murdered.
Look at that crazy lady screaming down there.
I ran inside, and all I did all day was light, ice, essential oils all day, mostly light. The next day I was typing. I thought I was going to the hospital. That's how bad my wrist was. I couldn't even move. And the next day I was typing.
Yeah. Poppy, can you imagine how much this could enhance homeopathy too?
I know. I was kind of wondering about the stacking component, or even just using it on the food that they're eating, like on the hay, or even the raw food that the dogs are eating. I just think it's so fascinating. Like, there's so many things you could do with that. And I was wondering if the ozone would actually capture, like in the glycerin, capture the light frequency.
I mean, they're showing a lot of that kind of stuff on, oh man, I'm going to forget her name right off the top of my head right now. There's a lady that's studying like water and water frequencies and like the memories and stuff that it holds, just like Emoto, the doctor that
Veda Austin.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Veda Asa. Thank you. It's getting late for me. Brain's starting to power down. She's showing all kinds of cool stuff where the water is saving, memories and words and images, and it's super fascinating. So yes, my assumption and theory would be that the glycerin would take the light in, and then you're using that. I mean, you can bless your water with prayers, right? I mean, we're in that group today, right? So I think it'd be super cool to try. It's not anything that's, been officially studied or shown, but I think it'd be super
You should
cool.
do something with Jill.
Yeah. Jill's
the
the ozone person we had last week. She's a holistic vet with an ozone company.
Yeah,
Cool.
you met her at AFMA, and you probably saw her talking.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, we'd definitely love to.
Actually, she's
Exciting.
with us too, I think.
Yes. I mean, I think now we're at this time in our world, even though light has been technically studied so much, it really hasn't been on the radar. And now that it's kind of coming on the radar, I mean, really, like, the door's just opening, for us to take it anywhere and everywhere. So it's really exciting, of the things that I think we'll be able to provide for healing with light.
Yeah, it just sounds like a magnification of everything. It's
Tell
fun.
them a little bit about Ron.
Dr. Ron Riegel, Riegel, and some people might know of him. He is getting older, but he was kind of like the original red light therapy vet. He bought the first laser that ever came out. He bought the first thermography camera that ever came out. He was working on horses and small animals. And then he basically traveled the whole world learning as much as he could. Like, he even got to meet Tina Carew, which is like the Russian scientist that came up with all these different wavelength studies, which is what our stuff is based off of. Why I put the wavelengths I did in our studies came from her research. Russia is like light years, literally, ahead of us with like ozone and water and light and all of that. And so the reason why I put my wavelengths in came off based off of her research, but he got to meet her, and now he's kind of known as like the expert. So he has a book on photobiomodulation for veterinary practices and clinicians. He travels the world teaching about light. He's helped laser companies develop different types of lasers. And I just got blessed to be divinely connected to him. And so he actually is now on the company and representing our product. Super excited about the torch. He's like, I can't believe that you have a torch that's $300 that's outperforming some of these like $14,000 at-home devices that are on the
Amazing.
market. Yeah.
Very cool.
He's been doing light since the 1970s.
Yeah. He's a cool.
And he's a vet on top of it.
Yeah. But he's one of us. Like, he's an old hippie and he loves to help animals, and that's all he cares about. And he will stand up for anything that is, you know, integral and honest and transparent. So we'll be doing some work together. He's going to help me provide some, you know, educational techniques. But anybody here that's either a practitioner or you have a practitioner you're wanting to work with light, and some of them are like, we need to talk to somebody with credentials. You know, we can always have Dr. Ron on for another chat, or if they want to reach out with any type of, you know, questions, we have him available as well.
Amazing. That's so great. I love that you have this little team of experts that are kicking butt. Jackie, it's so fun hanging out with you today. Any other questions, you guys, before we wrap? Are you guys good?
Actually,
Kathleen, working on team in CN.
Canada.
Oh, Canada. Yeah. I don't have any distributors right now in Canada.
No, but we're
working on it.
Put our heads together. And as far as Dr. Ron, stay tuned. I'll let you guys know we're going to be having a podcast with him very soon.
Excellent. Kathleen, do you want to be a part of the team in Canada? Do you want to be the Canadian rep on this?
I've got a few already lined up, but we can different parts of the country.
It's a big country.
Different parts of the world.
Kathleen, where are you?
Kathleen, you are in where? Ontario? You are muted. We cannot hear you, girl. I see your mouth moving.
Technology.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah.
You having a hard time?
That's okay.
Did you put it in the chat?
I think she just asked if we had Canadian distributors. So we do not yet. I do ship to Canada. We do ship international. If there's any international orders, they have to pay shipping and they have to pay whatever their custom and fees are for their country. Like, we just can't handle that for a company at the moment. And I do know that Canada has increased some with all of this like tariff and fights with America right now. So I am sorry about that, but it is worth it for the product. And we are working on trying to find a Canadian distributor, hopefully by this upcoming year.
It's a business opportunity, Kathleen. Woo, woo.
There you go. Well, Poppy, thank you so much for having me on. And if you guys ever want to talk more quantum biology, more light, anything, I'm more than happy to come back on. Anybody here, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly through the website. I'm happy to answer any questions or help with any type of protocols. We also have Jolie as well you can reach out to. She's been super helpful and a great asset for the company. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Jackie, I want to talk as fast as you. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm just going to stick red light up my nose and I'm going to feel so much better about it, and I'll talk.
Can you believe that she talks faster than the New Yorker?
Oh my gosh. It's impressive.
He's always
Everybody's saying thank you on Facebook, and you guys will, I know we put the website in there once, and Julie, you just make sure and answer any other questions on Facebook that we
I'll jump into Facebook and I'll put the link for the raffle as well.
Groovy. Thank you.
And I'm always around, and I'm a direct pipeline to Jackie.
Yes.
It's all over the place. She needs about 15 more versions of her.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
That was great.
That was fun. Thank you.